Good afternoon and welcome back, ladies, gents and Pikachus, to another long-awaited analysis and breakdown of the Quran of the Muslims. So, as usual, we're going to be breaking this thing down verse by verse into factual, logical statements in English so we can figure out who is Allah, what is Allah's plan and his purpose, and more importantly, what does this mean for you and I and the rest of the non-believer world in our lives today? So, if you have been keeping up with the series, you'll remember that last time we were going through the particulars of Sharia, which is the Islamic law which dictates the behaviour of the Muslims, because obviously they fucking ignore the local law, they don't give a shit about that. And what we were going through is when they return from their pilgrimage, how they should behave, how they should pay for their pilgrimage, and how they should get forgiveness for whatever it was they did to get that money. Not saying it was robbing people and killing them, oh no, we don't know for sure, but whatever it was, they needed to beg for forgiveness from Allah on their return and pay some money to the mosque. So that's what they did, and that leads us into today's reading. So before I start, as I do every day, if you have any doubts as to my factual accuracy, or you want to doubt any of the things I'm about to say, feel free to buy one of these for yourself from any good bookshops or from Amazon where I got mine, and upon reading it, you'll figure out that every single word in here is absolutely true and accurate to every single word I'm going to read you now from here. So, let's get started. 144. There is a type of man who uses charming, friendly words and talks fondly about his life. He may claim he is a follower of Allah and tell you he is a good teacher of things, yet he is the most evil, contentious of enemies. When your back is turned, he will ruin your stuff and spread filthy lies about your names to poison the minds of your children and ruin your crops. But Allah loveth not his mischiefs. He is an evil one, and he shall be punished. So, a brisk start, I feel, to this reading here. And why is Allah saying this stuff? Well, it's because now that the Muslim has gone on his rampage, then he's gone off to his pilgrimage and he's returned. Now he's not new to the country anymore. He's been here a while, he's doing his raiding party thing, and Allah realises he's probably going to come into contact with more of the locals, and he's not going to be able to immediately mercy them by cutting their head off because he might be outnumbered, or there might be some other reason why he can't immediately attack them, even though they're an evil Satan or a rabble shepherd Christian who deserve to die, in the words of Allah. So when that happens, he's going to have to ingratiate himself like a normal person would. And that is why Allah says, be careful, there is a type of man who uses charming, friendly words and talks fondly about his life. He's talking about regular people, not other Muslims. So they use friendly, charming words and they talk fondly about their life. They're just unassuming, naive, nice, civilians, regular guys. He may claim he is a follower of Allah and tell you he is a good teacher of things, yet he is the most evil, contentious of enemies. So Allah, if we're breaking this down, Allah is setting Muslims up to be very suspicious of anyone who isn't a Muslim. So even though the Muslim himself is trying to ingratiate himself to the locals, he doesn't want to be discovered as this murderous killing machine that's going to behead every single non-believer and loot their stuff and traipse off with their wife and children in chains as slaves. He wants to come across like, hey, I'm a nice guy, yeah, I'm friendly, I'm cool, I'm merciful and graceful, a bit like Allah. Only we know that Allah is only merciful and graceful to begin with, until he gets mad and realises he hates Jews, Christians, apostates and atheists, and mercies them by removing their heads. So that is how Allah is saying to his Muslims they should behave. Be nice and friendly at first, pretend that you're being nice and friendly at first, but know in your head, this guy who is using charming, friendly words and is trying to be your friend, oh no, dear O Muslim, he is not your friend. He is an evil, contentious enemy of Allah, and he wants to poison your children and ruin your crops. That is what this means. So in effect, he's basically repeating an earlier verse where he said, don't be friends with those evil Jews and Christians because they will ruin your salvation, and Allah will hate you, and you will end up in the ground dead, and other Muslims will come and kill you, and you'll die alone on your own with nothing. That was in an earlier bit. So Allah is just reminding the Muslims, even though you're chatting to these guys and you're going to be having conversations with them, and you might even think, I like this guy, he's relatable, even though he's not a Muslim, I fucking like this dude, he's cool. No! Allah is expressly forbidding any of this he's cool bullshit. No, he's not a Muslim. He's an evil Jew or a Christian or a pagan or an atheist, and later on you're going to fucking kill him, and don't be friends with him, don't listen to him. That's what this means. So, I'll carry on. When your back is turned, he will ruin your stuff, spread filthy lies about your names, to poison the minds of your children and ruin your crops. But Allah loveth not his mischief. He is an evil one, and he shall be punished. So we round out this verse with Allah saying, don't be friends with this guy, he's evil. Even though you might be relating to him, you might start to like him, because he's done nothing wrong to you, he's no threat to you, he's a nice person. Don't trust it, he wants to ruin your crops and poison the minds of your children. Allah wants you to kill him, and in addition to that, he is an evil one. Allah is expressly saying, I don't care whether you like this guy or not, he's fucking evil, okay, Muslim? You are going to have to behead this motherfucker later, and don't you be getting close to him or relating to him in any way, because if that happens, you might listen to his logical, factual arguments against this. And that doesn't work very well for Allah, so don't fucking think about it, okay? That's what this means. 145. When you tell him, you must prostrate yourself and fear Allah, he will arrogantly refuse and speak of his own pagan worship. Send him to hell, where Allah prepares a bed of the most evil fire. So, we start off 145. The verse begins very clearly saying, when you're having a discussion with this guy, hate him. Don't be friends with him. Pretend you're friends with him. And then we go into more detail, and it says, when you say to this guy, by the way, you must prostrate to Allah, you should fear and worship Allah, because even though we're being friendly, we're still trying to push the Allah worship on these guys. When they refuse, it's not because your religion is fucking bullshit and your book is full of nonsense. No, the reason they're refusing is because they're arrogant and they're pagans. That's what this is saying. You must prostrate now and fear Allah, and they will respond arrogantly and refuse and speak of their own pagan worship. So whatever these guys are doing is evil, and when they refuse Allah, it's not because they have good reason, it's because they're fucking evil pagans and they're arrogant. Okay, Muslims, remember that. And then it says what to do when you find this out. Send him to hell, where Allah prepares a bed of evil fire. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Allah, but just a minute ago you were saying befriend them, pretend to be nice to these guys. That didn't last very fucking long, did it? So Allah has, in his foamy-mouthed rage, forgotten that he was telling his Muslims, don't kill these guys now because it's not strategically advantageous for you to do that. Allah's forgotten about that now, and he's like, send him to hell where Allah prepares a bed of evil fire! Rah! Kill the evil Christians, Jews and pagans! Rah! And he's, as we always find, he has pissed all over his earlier verses with a later verse, because just a minute ago, Allah, you were going, don't kill them straight away, you know, wait until it's strategically advantageous and pretend to be friends. But then when he started saying about they refuse to fear and worship Allah and how they're evil pagans, he just says send them to hell, which in my book means kill them. You can't send someone to hell while they're still breathing, can you, Allah? So this might as well say, kill him! And then he says what's going to happen after he dies, because he's an evil pagan. Allah prepares a bed of evil fire for him. So not only is he going to die, it's not going to be a sin, because he's actually a demon, you know, horrible, soulless, demon, evil Jew or pagan Christian. So when you kill him, it's, you know, it's merciful. I mean, he wants you to kill him anyway. He's having such a horrible time not being a Muslim. Off with his head, he's dead, and send him to hell. That's what this means. The verse carries on. But another type of man does Allah really love and reward, and that man is a true devoted Muslim, who does only that which Allah commands. He shall see Allah's favour. And we round out the verse after saying these guys are evil pagans, Christians, Jews and atheists. Fuck those guys, cut their head off and kill them and don't feel bad because it's not a sin, O Muslim. We round out the verse by going, but there's other guys who are nice, you know, the good Muslims who you're going to go back to, the guys that are like you, they're the good ones. Allah really loves and rewards those guys because they're devoted Muslims and they do only what Allah commands. These fuckers over here, these evil Christians and Jews, they don't do what Allah commands, do they? Have they seen those holy signs? Fucking no. Have they seen Muhammad the Prophet? Fucking no. Do they read the Quran? Fucking no. Do they worship Allah from the Quran of the Muslims? Fucking no. So kill them, don't feel bad, they're evil. These guys over here are the ones that are good. Yeah, Muslim? That's what this means. I'll carry on. 146. O believers! Don't be like those evil Satan Jews or the hypocrite rabble shepherd, for they are to you an avowed enemy, and Allah hates them and wants them dead. So, what does Allah mean here, I wonder? Obviously now he's saying, O believers, because he's just told you, look, these guys over here, you're going to end up killing them, even though now you can't because you're outnumbered, or, you know, you're at a shop buying fucking pints of milk or whatever. Come back and kill them later. Then he forgot and went, kill them, they don't want to worship me. And then he said, but even though they're evil, we're going to kill them. Going back to nice, you know, your other Muslims are good. Let's focus on the good stuff, because I don't want to lose your focus, O Muslims. These guys are nice. You're nice, even though I've told you to kill them. And then the next verse is, believers, don't be like those evil Satans and Jews over there, those hypocrite rabble shepherds, for they are an avowed enemy of Allah, and he fucking hates them. So he's re-impulsing the genocidal end times prophecy, which this book is all about. And the way that he impulses that is to say, and I quote, don't be like those evil Satan Jews or those hypocrite rabble shepherds, which is the Christians, for they are to you an avowed enemy and Allah hates them and will kill them. So that doesn't need a lot of explanation, does it? It's pretty cut and dried what he means there. But he doesn't just stop there, he goes on. Don't screw any of this up, O Muslim, or Allah will surely punish you, for strictly is his power. Other people will remain ignorant until Allah arrives in a train of his angels with his holy signs. When everybody realizes Allah is the true God, Allah will judge them all for his fire. End of verse. So, I feel like this is another one of Allah. He's been awake too long. He's a little bit cranky. He needs to have some milk and cookies and fuck off to bed for a little couple of hours. Kip, have a little nap, wake up, and maybe not be so foamy-mouthed and genocidally angry. But let's go through it. So he starts off saying, believers, don't be like those evil Satans or hypocrite rabble shepherds. And what he means by that is referring to the earlier verse about using the charming, friendly words and talking fondly about life. Allah is making out that the only people who are charming and friendly and happy and joyful about their life are doing that because they're trying to trick you. They're not doing that because they're genuinely joyful and happy and nice people who are decent and loving. Oh no, no. Allah doesn't believe people are like that. They're only doing that because they're not worshipping Allah enough and they're evil. Remember the evil fucking Jews we want to kill? It's them. So then he goes on to say, they are an avowed enemy of Allah and Allah hates them and wants to kill them. And the between the lines bit is, so that means when you kill them later, O Muslims, it's going to be good. You won't feel guilty. I won't punish you. You'll get all their loot dragged off back to the mosque. And after the mosque keeps like 99.9% of it, you can have a coin. But you'll be in Allah's favour. Good, O Muslim. That's what this means. And then he literally, I love this last bit. This is so fucking funny. Don't screw any of this up, O Muslim. So I think Allah knows, even though his commands are very clear, and even an idiot could figure out what he's trying to say here. He's trying to say fucking kill those guys and rob them, and then drag all the stuff back to the mosque and store it here with me. That's what he's trying to say. But he wants to make sure that his Muslims don't have any ideas about setting up their own little town and their own little mosque or a splinter mosque, or keeping the proceeds of crime that they're going to collect now. So he reminds them, don't you dare screw any of this up, O Muslim, or Allah will surely severely punish you strictly in his awesome power. So what he's saying there is, look Muslims, I know I'm asking a lot of you, and you might not like the fact that you're having to lie and steal and kill and rape and maraud and invade and then be poor at the end of it and be my slave. But don't fucking screw it up. That's what Allah is saying. Don't you fucking dare screw it up or you'll be strictly, severely punished. Other people will remain ignorant of this until Allah arrives with his train of angels. So what he's saying there is, this isn't going to last forever, O Muslims. This is just the invasion period. When we've taken over all these lands and we've killed all these scabby Jews and Christians and atheists and unbelievers, once they're all dead and the end times genocidal prophecy is complete, then it will be nice and peaceful for you. That's why we're a religion of peace. We just need to get rid of these fuckers over here, then we can have our peace. So don't screw it up. Don't forget, those lot are ignorant. They don't recognise this. They don't understand what's going on. Allah is mind controlling them not to know, remember? Only the wise Muslims who saw the signs know this. You smart bastards over there. So don't worry about those guys. Just concentrate on the end times genocidal prophecy and worshipping Allah. And then he rounds it off by saying, how you're going to know that this happens is Allah is going to arrive not just on his own. He's literally going to have a conga line of angels behind him. And when they arrive, everyone's going to realise that Allah's the one true God. And at that point, Allah's going to judge them all. So what will happen? All the remaining Christians, Jews and atheists and pagans are all going to go, oh shit, Allah's fucking God, isn't he? We got it wrong. And then they're going to hang their heads in shame. Allah's going to chop their heads off, put them in grave torture for an indeterminate amount of time, as we know. And then he's going to set them up in a bed full of fire to burn for eternity. And at that point, this book will be complete. All the Muslims will be in paradise. 72 virgins. Game is over. Allah is the winner. And the Muslims are doing a good job at that point. And then they won't be punished. That is what this means. So, in conclusion, I think we're getting towards the end of Sharia now. This will be the last of the instructions for the Muslims. But I think it's pretty clear the direction Allah is taking them in. These instructions are not like laws you would have in a civil town. These are not social instructions. These are clearly military orders that Allah is putting on his Muslim raiding parties so that they can quickly rob out anyone else who is not an Allah worshipper, take all their resources back to the mosque to enrich the mosque and to regenerate the weapons and send more soldiers out. And the goal is, as he keeps saying, to reach the end times, his end times genocidal prophecy, where he goes and wipes out the Jews and Christians, gets everybody on side by lying about them and making false accusations so everyone hates them and agrees, and then chops all their heads off and dominates the world and brings down Allah's paradise with his little conga line of angels. But just remember, oh Muslims, if you don't believe in this, if you haven't seen the holy signs, if you don't believe in Allah, all those guys are going to believe it in the end, and they're going to wish that they'd fucking pray to me. And because they didn't, they're going to be horribly killed and burned forever. And if you don't follow my commands, give my money to the mosque, and don't follow my Quran of the Muslims, then guess what happens to you, oh Muslim? You're fucking dead. So don't forget, you have to do what I'm telling you until the end times, which you yourself are going to bring by killing off these guys. And that is the end of our reading and the end of this video. So I hope you were keeping up with that and you understood that. Next time we're going to go through some other stuff. I won't ruin the surprise for you as always, but it's going to be a good one. So God bless, have fun until then, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now. And if you want to find out more information about Allah's genocidal end time prophecy, hit me back up tomorrow at 7:15 AM and I'll see you then. Until then, have a good night, God bless, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.